Hello, friends. Are we not still fascinated by the maritime rise and sink of the masterpiece, the gigantic Titanic? Let's unleash some key facts and stories about why Titanic was built, how was it constructed, its official launch, and why it sank. Heroes who rose to the cause and became immortal in the history. Surprisingly, Titanic's birth and its unfortunate fate was predicted by an American writer, Morgan Robertson, in his novel 14 Years Before, detailing how an unsinkable ship named the Titan sinks, striking an iceberg in the North Atlantic due to a lack of lifeboats. Amazing, right? Let us understand why Titanic was born. Purpose. Titanic and her sister ships Olympic and Britannic were built to compete with the ocean liners Lusitania and Mauretania. Owned by rivals Cunard, the Lusitania was renowned for her luxury, whilst the Mauretania held the Blue Riband, the unofficial record for the fastest crossing of the Atlantic, a record which remained unbeaten until 1929. White Star Line had decided not to attempt to compete on speed, but rather to build larger, more reliable and more luxurious ships than their rivals. White Star Line marketed both Olympic and Titanic as practicably unsinkable, stated as much in a 1910 publicity brochure. Let's dive deeper. The construction of the RMS Titanic, an iconic ocean liner, commenced on 31st of March 1909. This was a mere 3 months after the keel of its sister ship, the Olympic, was laid down. The Titanic's construction unfolded at the Queen's Yard of the Harland and Wolff shipyard, where it was ceremonially launched into the Victoria Channel in Belfast Lough on 31st of May 1911 at 12:15 p.m. The building process spanned an impressive 26 months, signifying a remarkable feat of engineering and human effort. As the largest movable man-made object of its day, Titanic construction took a little over 2 years to complete, involving thousands of men and a cost equivalent to over 100 million in modern-day terms. Building Titanic did not go without problems. About 3,000 rivets were used in the construction of the hull. Unlike many ships built at the time, which used strong steel rivets, those used in building the Titanic were a mix of iron and steel. Whilst even weaker iron rivets were used in the construction of the bow, the section of the ship that struck the iceberg. Spectators. The event was a major public spectacle, attended by thousands of people, including dignitaries and members of the press. The process. The massive empty hull, weighing around 24,000 tons at the time, slid into the water in just 62 seconds, aided by 22 tons of soap and tallow used to lubricate the slipway. Ceremony. In line with White Star Line tradition, there was no formal christening ceremony involving smashing a champagne bottle against the hull. Next phase. After the launch, the hull was towed to a deep water fitting-out wharf, where months of work continued to install its engines, boilers, superstructure, and luxurious interiors. The Titanic was finally completed in April 1912 and began its sea trials on April 2nd, 1912, just a few days before departing on its ill-fated maiden voyage. Let's throw some light on how a man's greatest engineering feat humbled by an iceberg. Titanic's maiden voyage began on April 10th, 1912, from Southampton, England, heading to New York City. The ship made stops in Cherbourg, France, and Queenstown, Ireland to pick up more passengers. Tragically, the voyage ended just days later on April 15th, 1912, when the ship struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic and sank, resulting in the loss of over 1,500 lives. The collision caused a series of narrow openings in the hull, flooding 5 of the ship's 16 watertight compartments. The ship was only designed to stay afloat with a maximum of 4 flooded compartments. The sinking was not the result of a single failure, but a perfect storm of contributing factors. Primary cause included of sinking of the Colossus comprised collision with an iceberg. The ship scraped an underwater spur of the iceberg along its starboard side, causing the iron rivets along the hull plates to snap and pop open, creating narrow gaps through which water flooded the forward compartments. Other contributing factors encompassed Excessive speed. The Titanic was traveling at a high speed around 22 knots through an area known to have ice, a standard but reckless practice at the time, which meant the crew could not avoid the iceberg in time. Inadequate response to warnings. The ship's wireless operators received multiple iceberg warnings throughout the day, but did not relay all of them to the bridge, partly because they were busy sending passenger messages. Other glaring factors included its design flaws like insufficient bulkhead height. The watertight bulkheads that divided the ship's compartments did not extend high enough above the waterline. As the bow dipped, water poured over the top of the bulkheads from one compartment into the next. Potential weak rivets, the wrought iron rivets used in the bow and stern sections of the hull, may have been of a lower quality and more brittle than the steel rivets used in the central part of the ship, making them more prone to failure on impact, especially in the extreme cold. Lack of lifeboats. The Titanic carried only 20 lifeboats, enough for 1,178 people, far fewer than the approximately 2,200 people on board, though this number exceeded the outdated maritime safety regulations of the era. Communication failures. The SS Californian, a ship much closer than the rescue ship RMS Carpathia, saw the Titanic's distress flares but failed to respond because its sole radio operator had gone to bed for the night. Calm sea conditions added to the tragedy. The sea was exceptionally calm that night, making it difficult for the lookouts to spot the dark outline of the iceberg due to the lack of breaking waves at its base. Legacy and reforms. Titanic's sinking highlight the dangers of overconfidence in technology, the critical need for robust safety regulations, and the devastating impact of human error and communication failures. The disaster led to major, lasting reforms in maritime law. The tragedy was a catalyst for fundamental changes in maritime safety, leading to the creation of the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, SOLAS, in 1914. Key reforms incorporated were 1. Mandating enough lifeboat space for every person on board every ship. 2. Requiring all ships to maintain a 24-hour radio watch. 3. Establishing the International Ice Patrol to monitor icebergs in the North Atlantic shipping lanes. The sinking of the RMS Titanic was a profound human tragedy, a devastating collision between human ambition and the raw power of nature. The event is remembered not just for the loss of a ship, but for the loss of over 1,500 lives, and the stark, heart-wrenching stories of heroism, sacrifice, and class disparity that unfolded in its final hours. It exposed the fragility of life and the hubris of the unsinkable claim, forever cementing the Titanic in history as a symbol of aspiration and tragedy. The enduring emotional legacy is a mix of sorrow for those lost and a powerful reminder of the need for vigilance and compassion in the face of disaster. Many individuals displayed extraordinary courage during the sinking of the Titanic, prioritizing the lives of others over their own. The heroes of the sinking included crew members, the engineers, and electricians. All 35 engineers and their support staff, electricians, boilermakers, a plumber, and a clerk, remained at their posts deep within the ship to ensure power for the lights and pumps, which was crucial for the evacuation effort. Their sacrifice is widely regarded as one of the most significant acts of heroism, as their efforts bought precious time for lifeboats to be launched, and none of them survived. Wireless operators, Jack Phillips and Harold Bride, Phillips, senior operator, and Bride, junior operator, stayed in the radio room sending distress calls, CQD and SOS messages, to nearby ships until the power failed and water flooded the room. Phillips died in the sinking, but Bride survived and continued to assist the Carpathia's operator after being rescued. Second Officer Charles Lightoller, the most senior, participated in the Dunkirk evacuation during World War II with his personal yacht. Fifth Officer Harold Lowe. Lowe was the only officer to return to the site of the sinking to search for survivors after the ship went down. He transferred people from his lifeboat to others and then went back, pulling 4 men from the icy water, one of whom later died. Head Baker Charles Jaugen. Joggin calmly helped load women and children into lifeboats and reportedly gave up his spot on a lifeboat. He survived alcohol, a unique as the evacuation. Knowing the ship was doomed, he went down with the ship. John Harper, a Scottish evangelical pastor traveling with his daughter. Harper ensured his daughter was in a lifeboat, gave his own life jacket to another man, and spent his final moments in the icy water preaching the gospel to others until he succumbed to hypothermia. Other significant rescuer was Captain Arthur Rostron of the RMS Carpathia. Upon receiving the Titanic's distress call, Captain Rostron immediately turned his ship around and steamed at full speed through dangerous ice fields to the rescue. He ordered his crew to prepare hot drinks, blankets, and medical aid, ensuring the survivors were cared for upon arrival. The wreck of the Titanic lies in the North Atlantic Ocean, about 400 nautical miles south of the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. It rests in two main pieces on the ocean floor, at a depth of approximately 12,500 feet. The two pieces are about 1/3 of a mile apart, separated by a large debris field. The emotional conclusion is one of shattered pride and the humbling realization that even the greatest feats of engineering could be undone in a single catastrophic night. Thank you for watching. See you next time.